Alright, you guys, what it is today? I'm back with another video. Sorry for the hiatus, but of course, spoiler warnings, you have been warned. Now, forgive me again, like I said, I know I haven't uploaded in probably at this point almost 3 weeks. Forgive me for that, but I'm back. And today I will finally be discussing the Power of Escanor. And Lord have mercy, whew, this is gonna be a fun battle. Discussing Escanor. Okay, this is always fun because he's obviously pretty much most people's favorite character outside of Bond and stuff with the 7 Deadly Sin, and he's just badass. And I'm not even gonna hesitate to get into it. We're just gonna go ahead and get straight into it. Now, Escanor essentially doesn't make an appearance until later in the series, when the 10 Commandments are finally freed from their imprisonment. The first commandment that we actually see in action is Gland of Truth. Now, Gland of Truth came in, and we see just how useless essentially the 7 Deadly Sins are compared to the commandments. Considering Gland comes in and bodies Meliodas, Merlin, and Deanne without getting a single injury at all. And he even later on is actually able to body even Bond, or actually not really body Bond. He actually got bodied by Malaska. But point being, the 10 Commandments show just how powerful they truly are. This same commandment, after defeating Meliodas, Merlin, and Deanne, and being tricked by Gold to think he killed them, forces Meliodas essentially to do two things. One, he forces Merlin to tell him where to go to get his powers back so he can actually have the power necessary to defeat them. And the other one is, of course, to find Escanor. But when Meliodas, of course, gains his power back so he can go and defeat him, this is an extremely good thing comparing it to Escanor, considering he also says that Escanor is actually stronger than he is, even after he's getting powers returned. This is the same Meliodas that left a massive crater that seemed like a bottomless pit, as Hendrickson and Dreyfus stated, seemed like a bottomless pit from Meliodas just going in a rage mode after Fraudrin essentially killed Liz, or the Elizabeth's reincarnation, or the previous Elizabeth's reincarnation. This is also, I've seen many calcs from it, but usually the main one I've seen, trying to compare it usually to Daedalus. Destruction Bomb, which usually equates to about a small country, and this a little bit better in certain calcs, but I'll just say this about a country level feat, which definitely fits the bill for all the down players, considering this same Meliodas is also comparable, if not even stronger, compared to Gloxinia and Droll. Now, these two are also extremely powerful, like I said. They were also able to they both got defeated by Meliodas, but they were still able to damage him in numerous places. They were also still able to damage him numerous times, and even force him to the point that by the time the other 10 Commandments got there, his healing factor was almost non-existent. Which is impressive considering Droll, who is, like I said, still even, if not comparable to Gloxinia, was able to create a giant maze that was further than even Deanne, and that even went out of range compared to even Deanne. Even Deanne could not see the end of it, and even in Among you could not even see the other end of the maze. And he was able to create this maze casually just in time for a festival that they were trying to do, essentially just to kill time and not be bored. Droll, like I said, was able to create that quite casually, and this wall is also extremely regenerative, which is also what would require even more magic power for him to do, and he still created it casually. I've seen a lot of people even trying to go so far as to say that this is only like a mountain level type situation, which is blatantly wrong, considering Gland, who was much weaker than Meliodas, Gloxinia, and Droll, was already able to completely obliterate a mountain with just a single swing of his weapon, which, by the way, in his fight against Escanor, didn't do a single thing to Escanor, meaning that there's no way in hell you can actually lowball these characters to being mountain level, considering Gland himself, being the weakest of the commandments overall, was already able to easily obliterate a mountain. So, mountain levels out the way and country being more consistent definitely fits the bill. The reason why this is impressive, or reason why it even goes to Escanor in the first place, is because Meliodas, as I stated before, has already stated that Escanor is even stronger than he is, in that form. Meaning that even though Meliodas got his powers returned, he still believes Escanor is stronger. And Escanor, of course, at this moment, after getting introduced and defeating both Melascula and Galan without receiving a single injury, by the way, has proven yet again later on that how much stronger he is compared to that form of Meliodas. When, in one of my favorite fights in the entire series, Escanor faces off against Estarossa. Now, this is extremely important when it comes to actually discussing why Escanor actually scales above any of the feats that Meliodas was able to do in his powers return form, because yet again, Estarossa had already shown as well that he is drastically above that same Meliodas. And even that same form of Estarossa, seemingly that Escanor fought against, wasn't really able to deal that much damage to Escanor, if pretty much anything at all. So the reason why this is important, because yet again, when Meliodas, or when the Ten Commandments arrived and Meliodas felt like the only way that he could defeat him, because he could not defeat him with his own power, was to essentially allow himself to get beaten down with various magic abilities, so he could actually activate a revenge counter. This revenge counter was obviously much stronger than his own power, and was his only method and his only viable way to even defeating or getting away from the commandments in the first place, in hopes that it would at least damage or kill some of the other commandments. This same Estarossa, though, then casually, with one hand, stops the revenge counter by stop the attack with one hand, with literally no effort, causing Meliodas' only way out to be completely gone. Yet again, showing that he scales drastically above even this Meliodas, considering even a revenge counter that would boost Meliodas' overall attack potency was absolutely nothing to him. This same Estarossa, who faced off against Escanor later on, then gets completely bodied, even though Estarossa essentially had every bit of an advantage, such as the fact that any physical attack Escanor was able to do, Estarossa would full counter it, considering he can use full counter on physical abilities, and he was using his darkness to consume Escanor's sun, to the point that essentially would make his magic also null and void. And even then, Escanor still casually one-shots Estarossa, as well as messes up Zeldris in the process. So, yet again, he scales drastically above it. He then proves it again when he faces off against Assault Mode Meliodas. Now, this is also another one of my favorite fights. This, of course, also is a extremely important fight, and also shows just how drastically he scaled above that same country level version of Meliodas, considering Assault Mode Meliodas is essentially, outside of the later form that we see him in after awakening his power, is the strongest form of Meliodas. This same Assault Mode Meliodas was also stated by Melascula to be feared by all of the Ten Commandments as well, and was even feared by the four archangels, which yet again backs it up as well when we see when King and Diang went through their training. When they all went through their training, Meliodas in that image when Elizabeth was trying to heal Monspeed and Derriere from their Endura form. Ludashel felt like it was necessary to stop Elizabeth, obviously, because he hates them, and Meliodas, of course, stood in their way. And when he stood in their way, Ludashel, instead of just going through and trying to fight Meliodas on his own, immediately proves that Meliodas scales to at least 3 of the archangels together, considering Ludashel then asks for Asaria and Tarmia to actually help him get rid of Meliodas, showing that he cannot defeat him by himself, which is a great feat considering Escanor fought the same Assault Mode Meliodas after, of course, he died and came back and got his power back. He then fights the same Assault Mode Meliodas by himself, showing that he also should scale 2 in Archangel's level. And even though most of his forms couldn't really do much against him, if not anything at all, and most of them, he then proves that he's actually even above this same Meliodas when he finally shows us his true power and goes into the one mode when the time finally strikes for high noon. Now, the one mode is easily his most powerful form, and we see that when, even though it's only for a single minute, he is able to easily one-shot Meliodas in his assault mode, which is yet again something that even Ludashel, with the help of two archangels, felt like they could not take him down. Felt like they had to actually team up to get it done. And this same Escanor did it with one hand, one-shotting him quite casually. The same Escanor, yet again proving that he is above archangel level, comes in the fact of after the battle with Assault Meliodas, and he was out of commission for a while, they end up going in to stop Meliodas from becoming the Demon King, and of course Zeldris, Cusack, and Chandler stand in the way. Zeldris then unleashes his ultimate move, Ominous Nebula, which is an extremely powerful move. Now, Zeldris by himself was already able to rival even Ludashel in terms of swordplay, but now using Ominous Nebula, he actually manages to actually overpower Ludashel, and by using this ability to essentially force pull them in, and using his darkness to literally go around even faster than Ludashel can even visibly see it, considering the fact that even he himself has the Grace Flash to actually boost his speed and is also massively FTL. Even he himself is completely helpless against it. Yet again proving how Escanor is above them, considering that same Escanor then, once they hit high noon, decides to yet again enter into the one mode and proceeds to actually yet again body Zeldris yet again with one hand and with one strike. Now, he proves that he's actually stronger than his own Sacred Treasure by literally, once the Sacred Treasure fails, he literally stops or attacks Zeldris with bare hand and literally proceeds to one-shot him by poking him. Okay? He literally pokes Zeldris, and that's it. He defeats Zeldris that way, yet again proving that he is well above any member of the Archangels, or with the exception of Mael at the time anyway, but we're not going to get into that. Now, all of that still absolutely pales in comparison to what we see Escanor do later on at the very end of the series against their final fight against the Demon King. Now, at this point in the story, as Meliodas said it himself, the Demon King essentially in his Chad form is actually more powerful than he was when he was in his Meliodas body, and could arguably go into him being stronger than his old self or his original body that we've seen him in Purgatory. But we're not going to get into that much. Just know that he is stronger than what he was. And I do, of course, recommend that you all go see my Demon King Power Scale Village to show why Escanor being anywhere comparable to him is impressive in the first place, especially considering the fact that not only was he not in the one mode at the beginning, but he was still taking attacks from him and being okay, not actually just getting one-shotted during the fight, showing he is at least somewhat durable enough to still take the Demon King on. But we later see when he goes into the one mode, not only is he able to fight the Demon King one-on-one, just pure brawn, considering he can't really use magic abilities and anything like that, and most of his attacks were being absorbed and distributed by the ruler ability, he was still going toe-to-toe with the Demon King in the one mode, and as soon as the minute was over with and the Demon King thought he won, Escanor then converts his own life energy into the one mode and goes into the one ultimate, which then towers above him and even is able to deal more damage to the Demon King and even make the Demon King himself seem a bit afraid of Escanor. So, with all of these feat stuff, it easily shows that even if you try to lowball the Escanor, should easily still be in that multi-continental range. Even if you try and lowball it, but the more logical way to put it is saying that he's around planetary to planet plus. He's obviously not as powerful as the Demon King, which is extremely clear, but he is still relative enough in the same ballpark to still be able to at least deal some damage to him and not essentially get one-shotted by him like if he was extremely weaker than him. So, by the end of the day, easily he's just staying within those planet to planet plus levels of power, and that is the boy Escanor all day, every day. And I feel like people should not underestimate the 7 Deadly Sins verse, and let alone Escanor himself. Now, if you all enjoyed the video, I really do hope you like, comment, subscribe. I know I need to start uploading more consistent, and I will. Just give me a minute. But like I said, I am going to try and upload more consistent like I was doing beforehand, trying to make videos, because I do enjoy making videos on YouTube, debating in the comments, things of that nature. It's always fun to do, and it always gets, just fun to interact in that type of manner. So, yet again, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for the next video, guys. It'll hopefully I'll have it out, have another video out within the next few days or so. So be on the lookout. And until then, you guys, I will see you. Peace.